Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you a card that I'm going to make, and this is a fancy corner fold card. There's lots of inspiration on YouTube. May Makes It is one that inspired this tutorial because of how she gets the corner. Now her tutorial is for a 5.5 by 4.25 card, but my cards are going to be 5 by 7 cards. That's the size I'm going for. So this PDF by Helz Cuppleditch is an Easter one that we got in the files section on her Facebook group. And I know I'm a little late for Easter, but this was so lovely. I really wanted to make a card. I love the 3 panels, as well as this beautiful striped border that came on the page. And I just printed mine using a laser printer. And this is the card that I've come up with. I've used the border along the bottom, and I have matted and layered each of the images with some green card from my stash. So I've got a little bit of glue that spilled out there. I just spotted it while I was doing the video after having made the card. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to cover it up using my Spectrum Noir, because that's usually really good at covering up little glue splodges sometimes. So I'm just going to go around the border for this inside panel with my Spectrum Noir pen. And then we're going to get on, and I'm going to show you how I make a template for this fancy corner fold card and how I make it using a 5 by 7 standard base. So this is the free PDF that I've downloaded, and I actually downloaded a number of copies of this. I want to make a birthday card, a thank you card, a miss you card. 1, 2, 3. I made 5 cards for a finish, and 4 of them are the fancy fold card. So I had a go at making a card using some computer paper. I cut it at 10 by 7 and scored it at 5, and that way I was able, to have a practice on this rather than on a card blank. So this is my little template here, and this is a 4 by 4 template, and I've marked it at 1 inch from these 2 sides. And then that top right hand corner is where you put it up against your card blank. So then what we do is, coming in from the mark here and the mark here, I'm going to draw a line down to the corner and then across. So I have this L shape on my card, and that is where we're going to cut. And then once we have that cut, we can then twist it and pop it over. So that's in essence my fancy corner fold. Some of them have a border there on the left hand side. But I liked it this way, so that's what I'm going with for my card. So I'm going to again take my little template here, and I'm going to keep that together with this one, and that way then when I want to make one, I have it all wrote down there what I need to do. So right, now I have my template here, and from the right hand side I've marked in 1 inch, and then rotating it from the left hand side I've marked in 1 inch, and I've put little arrows there to define those little 1 inch marks, and I've put an arrow here to this top right hand corner and made a note that that's where that needs to be on my 5 by 7 card base. So like I said, you can make one yourself. You need a piece of card measuring 10 by 7 and score it at 5. So I'm going to sit my template right into the top right hand corner of my card, and I'm going to make sure it's nice and even and lined up. And you can tap it off the table on both sides, whatever you feel you're happiest with doing, but it needs to be right in that corner. Then I'm going to draw a line from the 1 inch mark on each side up into that corner. And this is going to show us where we need to cut. Now you can cut these lines using a craft knife, something like this. You can use a craft knife and a ruler to cut it. But I like to use the trimmer. I'm not very good at using my craft knife and my ruler. I'm always finding I just don't get a straight cut. So I have this Fiskars Trimmer. Now the reason I'm using this one, you can see it has a wire runs right through the middle, and this wire guides you as to where you're going to cut on your paper. And I really like that idea because I can open up my card base, and I'm going to make sure the blade now is out of the way. I don't want to cut my card base by accident, so I'll move that out of the way. And then I'm going to line up the wire along my pencil line. And I'm going to make a note of where I need to start my cut. I'm going to put a little pencil line there so you can see, and a little pencil line there. And that'll help you and help me to see exactly where I'm going to cut with the blade. Now make sure that your card base is right up against the end there, and you'll see the top of your blade just there. That kind of runs parallel to the one along the right. Okay, so once I'm happy that my guide wire is on my pencil line, I'm lifting up the blade. Now I'm dropping it down, pressing down until my blade or my cutter is parallel there with my line, which is on the right. And I can see there I've got a good cut. So now I'm rotating my card base. I want to make sure my blade is out of the way. I'm going to sit the card base down, and I'm going to move it across now until the wire is along where my pencil mark is. So I have lifted up the plate with the blade on it. I've dropped it down, and I'm going to bring it to my mark, and then press down and bring it right up to the end here. And I know now I have a perfect cut right between the two. And you want to come right down to the ends, because that'll ensure that you get a nice fold. Now I have my eraser. You can use the one on your pencil. I have a mono eraser here, and I'm going to erase or rub out all my pencil marks. I want to make sure I get them off. I don't want to leave them on my card base. So I'll take the time to rub out those pencil marks. Lovely. And I want to make sure that there's nothing showing through from the back. This is a makeup brush. I got it in Pennies or Primark, and I use it for cleaning off any dust or debris or embossing powders off my table. So I'll just get rid of any of the eraser. Okay, so now you're going to press this bottom left corner up and to the right, and you're swiveling the card. Now you can actually take a score tool and score from the corner there, the 5-inch score mark over, but I'm just doing this freehand because I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing. So I'm making sure that the card where my thumb is and where my finger is, you can see it here, this piece is along the score line in the middle of our card base. You don't want it going over too far or not far enough. They should line up together. And I'm going to press down then on the other side. So now I'm going to take my scoring tool or my bone folder and just press down on those so that my card sits down nicely. And there we go. That's your fancy corner fold. You can stick that down or leave it. I leave it. Some of them, like I said, have a border, excuse me. But this is the way I'm doing it for my 5x7, and I'm happy with this. So now I have all the little images that was on the page that I printed up. I have my large one and my little smaller ones. And I'm going to mat and layer these pieces onto some cardstock. Now I made a couple of these cards. I made one where it was matted on yellow, where it was matted on green, and the red and the orange. So for this card, I'm going to mat them on the red card, and I've sped up the video now because this is assembly just. So this one I'm putting down is the largest image, and this is too big for the card, but I'm going to use this on another card. I'm going to make a 4.5 by 5.5 card and use this image on that one. It's too big for our 5 by 7 fancy corner fold card, but all the rest of the images there you can see on the table, I'm going to use those. And I took one of the little images, the basket of flowers, and I've fussy cut that out. Okay, so now we need to stick our image down, and this is the second biggest image. You want to make sure that you don't glue this down onto the card base, and you want to make sure it's only stuck down to the part of the fancy fold or that corner. I've got these two here and I'm going to put them along the bottom. Lovely, and I'm using my what do they call it, Cosmic Shimmer glue. I usually use the Nuvo, but I was running low and I ordered some of the Cosmic Shimmer glue, and I find it really good. Put a fine tip nozzle on it so I can reduce the flow. Okay, so I have one of the strips, the colorful strips, and I'm going to put that along the edge on the inside, and I want to make sure that I can have it balanced. So there we go. The flowers I'm going to put over onto the left hand side, but I'm going to need a piece of red card. I just want, I think, it to look more balanced than it just set on that offcut, and it hides where the fold corner is. Perfect. Now I can take my little bunch of flowers and stick that in the middle. I've taken some of my scraps of the different colored cardstock that I used for the mats, and I have a tiny little die in my stash. It die cuts out 3 different size little hearts, and I'm going to sprinkle them around my card. I'm going to cut off the excess of that little strip, and then I'm going to take some of my liquid glue and I'm going to put some of the hearts down on the front of our card. So I'm going to stick with the green and the red colored hearts for the front of the card. And once I'm happy with the placement of my hearts, I'm going to take my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and I'm going to go around the different images and put a little bit of sparkle on. Then I'm going to take my Glossy Accents, and I have a large bottle which I've decanted into the smaller one, and it has a fine tip nozzle on it. And then I'm just going to randomly go around the different parts of the images, the flowers, the swag on the big parcel, the candle, and the little dots there along the... And there we go, that's our card. So we have made 4 of these cards. This is the one I made, it's a happy birthday card. And I used some orange mats for this one. And then I've also made this one, which has a yellow mat in it, and this is an I miss you card. And I've just used sentiments from my stash for these cards. And you can decorate your cards any way you like. Basically what I'm giving you is the card base, the fancy corner fold card base, how to make that. There's my Happy Easter card, and I'll keep that for next year. I added a little puffy sticker there I had in my stash, and 2 little bees. We must be good to the bees. So that's it. I'm just going to move this card now because it has wet glossy accents on it and I don't want to smear that. There's our 4 cards that we've made, and we have made them using the fancy corner fold. So I hope you've enjoyed my little tutorial using the wonderful illustrations by Helen from Helz Cuppleditch. I really would encourage you to find her on Facebook and definitely join her group. There's a lot of papers, paper pads, etc. that we use in the crafting community that are done by Helen, and she's a wonderful artist. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a like by clicking on the thumbs up. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing, and if not, you might consider subscribing and tipping on the bell icon down below so you'll be notified when I make another YouTube tutorial. You can find me, Blonde Cards and Crafts, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now on TikTok. Yeah! So until next time, thanks for watching and bye bye.